Hi everyone, I am Adam from Trade with Precision and welcome to Vantage Markets Inside the Charts. So let's have a quick look at the calendar this week. A lot of inflation stuff. We have obviously revision for non-farm payrolls, but you can see here interest rate decision out of the ECB. We've got inflation coming out of the US stuff, so we'll see what that is. Markets will be eyeing that out. That'll be Thursday, and Friday GDP for the UK. So that'll plenty to keep us interested and on our toes. Let's have a quick look at the dollar index. So Friday, you can just see this pressure really building up here. A lot of selling pressure on that dollar. It's holding at this level, but it's really likely to break out. And when it does break, it's going to move very quickly. So we're really just waiting to see what's going to happen with that this coming week. We're having a look at euro dollar. Again, finished bullish for Friday, but just cannot break through this key level. This is a bit of a battle it's fighting. And we can just see it just continually struggling to break above this level here. Close at least above that 117.21 level. Let's move on and have a look at GBPs. You can see also a bit of a strong finish on Friday, trying to break above these highs, just getting there, top of the range. We can see Aussie dollar, US dollar also pushing higher. So a lot of key levels the markets are just continually testing at. And it was interesting to see even here, Kiwi dollar, which has been relatively weak, is trying to change its trend. So this week, hints, if this market can follow through, hints at that dollar getting weaker. And hopefully that means we will see some trends return. If you have a look at dollar yen, it has done nothing for several weeks. Looking at it from a weekly perspective, wicks top and bottom here, it's been going sideways. All of this, ladies and gentlemen, is due to the tariffs. The markets are just kind of freezing up. So dollar CAD being very interesting, caught my eye here. Starting to look that a little bit more bullish. I'll show you a couple of the others. So quickly show you here in terms of other pairs. Really the ones that I like the most would be EURCAD, which is continuing to push high. That one looking nice and bullish from a weekly perspective, daily as well. So that looking attractive. And then there's really not a huge amount. And then Aussie CAD breaking through a nice little level here of resistance. Quite like the look of that. And so seeing some progress there, but otherwise most of the charts are really struggling. And so it isn't just you if you have felt like that's the case. Dollar also showing that weakness. We can see that dollar just pushing lower, pushing lower, pushing lower. And so that pressure is on. We're just going to have to see if it's going to break up. But when it does, ideally it'll start moving like crazy, and I hope that will be this week. Let's have a quick look at gold and silver. So gold, really strong finish for last week. Just such a strong bar. So for me, actually any decent pullback this week represents a buying opportunity. Okay, I would be expecting a pullback this week, maybe not even on the daily, but on the 4 hourly for sure. There's divergence creeping in here. We're going to see a bit of a pullback or a consolidation for sure. Silver also similar in the same category, looking for some pullback, but almost always there's a very fair chance it's going to finish higher because it is so bullish at the moment. And so looking for those two. But any pullbacks looking good. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin from a weekly perspective, showing a little bit of bullishness. It's still holding at this level of resistance. It's still finding support there. So break of that high there would see this starting to pick up a trend and moving higher. Crude oil, again, although I talk about it, it is under long-term downward pressure, so definitely looking at that. Beautiful, it's got a nice trend, but as soon as you go down to the daily, it becomes a lot more choppy. But yes, the pressure is to the downside with crude oil, and I don't expect that to change at any time. Let's have a quick look at the Dow. So the Dow here for the week is very important to see how they closed. We can see a little bit of a retracement coming in to this level of resistance, testing that for support. I think we still have, it's very important this week to see whether we break the high of last week's candle or the low first, which one we break first, because that is going to give us a clue as to whether we get a deeper correction, which I think we are due for one. So I think it's a very fair possibility. But look at the S&P, for example, also still closing up near those highs. But again, I think at some point we could very well see a correction and just back down towards these lows. Not a very big one. The NASDAQ, not looking that bad either. But again, really going to be focusing on watching the high or the low of last week's candle to see which way the market is likely to lead. And I'm saying there is this time around. Normally I would expect it to break the high and continue up. But this week, I think there is a possibility it could break lower. Russell 2000 as well, having a fantastic week, finishing nice and strong. Looks really good. The FTSE as well. The FTSE in the UK finishing, pulling back into a level of resistance. Little bullish indecision candle. And that actually, again, if we break the high, that has that potential to move higher. The DAX, on the other hand, still stuck within its range and therefore might come down and test support. And then finishing off here with the Hang Seng, which is also consolidating. So just to sum up going through this, yes, there's still plenty of bullishness in it, but it kind of feels as though it's running very much on empty. And that's why I'm saying, including this week, the possibility of that breaking that low. Not only that, but considering the time of year that we are heading in, we're well into September now, and Annually, September tends to be the worst performing month, and therefore it's a very real potential opportunity for us, or at least that we might find that the market does head lower. And I don't want to anticipate that it won't. I also want to be prepared the markets might continue to push higher. We are very much in a bubble, technically speaking, and therefore a push higher is still possible. But man, it would be great for the markets to let off some of that buying pressure and just have a nice correction just a little bit further down towards the 20-period moving average, or back down into these previous highs, and then have a very nice pickup and a nice strong finish going through till January. So exercise some caution around this. I think let's see what happens with that US dollar. As I said, dollar CAD, EURCAD, Aussie CAD offering the most attractive opportunities. Gold and silver standing out from everything else as well, and just exercising some caution on those indices. Bitcoin as well, we might see that it actually recovers and starts to move higher as well. Plenty to look at and lots of interesting stuff on the horizon. So stay frosty and keep calm and carry on trading. Thank you very much. Have a great week.